Hello, and welcome to Part 6 of the Google Associate Data Practitioner Crash Course. In this video, we'll dive into an introduction to Google Cloud Firestore. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and visit our website, www.shapingpixel, for the latest real exam questions and answer PDFs. Cloud Firestore is a managed, highly scalable, NoSQL document database offered by Google. But what does that really mean? Let's break it down and see how Firestore stands out among other database technologies on the Google Cloud Platform. First, Firestore is fully managed by Google. You do not need to install or configure any software yourself. It is provided as software as a service, so you simply load your data and start writing queries. Google takes care of patches, upgrades, and all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Firestore is also highly scalable, capable of storing petabytes of data and handling millions of writes per second. This means you never have to worry about capacity planning. As your application grows, Firestore automatically scales to meet your needs. Firestore is a non-relational, or NoSQL database. Unlike relational databases that use rows and columns for structured data, Firestore is ideal for unstructured data like documents or key value pairs. If you prioritize scalability and speed over multi-row transactions, Firestore is a strong choice. Within Google's database offerings, Firestore sits among non-relational databases best suited for building applications, making it a powerful tool for modern development. If you are new to Firestore, Google's cloud database, you might be confused by all the similar names like Data Store and Firebase. Let's break down Firestore's history and how it fits into Google's ecosystem. Before Firestore, Google offered Data Store, a NoSQL database designed for massive scaling with App Engine. In 2014, Google acquired Firebase, a development platform with its own database. By combining Data Store's scalability with Firebase's advanced storage technology, Google created Cloud Firestore. Firestore operates in two modes: Data Store mode and Native mode. Data Store mode is a compatibility layer, letting developers use the familiar Data Store API while storing data in Firestore's infrastructure. Native mode, on the other hand, uses the new Firestore API, offering features like real-time updates and offline synchronization. Each Google project can only use one mode, so you must choose carefully. If your app needs real-time updates or offline access, native mode is best, especially for mobile and web apps. Data Store mode is optimized for server-side processing and does not support these features. Evaluate your project's needs, data model, and pricing to decide which Firestore mode fits best. Firestore's flexibility comes from understanding its history and options. Let's walk through setting up and configuring Firestore. First, log into the Google Cloud Web Console. Search for Firestore and click the link to access the main Firestore page. If it's your first time, you'll need to choose a database mode. You'll see two options: Data Store mode and Native mode. Remember, your choice locks the project to that mode, so review the differences carefully. If your database is empty, you can still switch modes, but once records are added, the selection is permanent. To create a database, click the appropriate button for your chosen mode and select a region. For both modes, you can choose single region for lower latency or multi-region for higher availability and durability. In Data Store mode, records are called entities. Click Create Entity to add one. In Native mode, records are documents inside collections. Click Start Collection to begin. Then add your document with a unique ID. DataStore uses namespaces and kinds to organize entities, while native mode uses collections and documents. Both can store the same data, just structured differently. Editing and deleting records is intuitive in both modes. Simply select the record, make your changes, or remove it as needed. Indexing helps you search and sort data efficiently. In Data Store mode, choose which fields to index. In native mode, all fields are indexed by default. For bulk data, Firestore supports importing and exporting records for easier management. To get started with Google Cloud Data Store, remember that you can only import data if it is in a special format. Common formats like comma-separated values, or CSV, are not supported directly. If you need to import a CSV file, you will have to write custom code. Once your data is in Data Store, you can easily build queries in Data Store mode using the console. There is a tab called Query by GQL, where GQL, or Google Query Language, works much like Structured Query Language, or SQL. You can search for entities, filter by author, or look up specific ISBN numbers. Just make sure your fields are indexed, or your queries might return no results. Indexing is crucial for efficient queries. In Data Store mode, you can define composite indexes in your application and review them in the console. In native mode, you can review single field indexes and create composite indexes as needed. Google can also detect required composite indexes automatically. Now you know how to import, export, and query data in Google Cloud Data Store, as well as manage indexes. Whether you are using Data Store mode or native mode, these basics will help you get your database up and running smoothly. When developing cloud applications, testing locally is essential. Google provides emulators for Firestore and Data Store, letting you create an isolated development environment. This helps you debug without needing internet access or a dedicated Firestore database. First, make sure you have the Google Cloud Software Development Kit, or SDK, installed. Always run gcloud update to get the latest features and fixes. You will also need a Java runtime installed and configured, since the emulators require Java. Ensure the Java binary is added to your system path. To view available emulators, use the gcloud command to list components. You will see Cloud Data Store Emulator for Data Store mode and Cloud Firestore Emulator for native mode. Install them with gcloud components install followed by the component name. If needed, also install the SDK beta commands. Start the Data Store emulator with its specific command. It will run on localhost, usually at port 8081. For Firestore native mode, use its command and it typically runs on port 8040. Check the logs for host and port details. To use the emulators, update your application's environment variables to point to the emulator's address. Your local database will start empty, so refer to documentation for setup details. Now you are ready to build and test locally. Let's break down Google Cloud Firestore and what makes it so useful. Firestore is a managed, highly scalable, NoSQL document database. If you're building an application that needs to store and retrieve large amounts of unstructured data, Firestore is designed to handle exactly that. Firestore's origins are rooted in the combination of data store and Firebase technologies, which is why the names are so similar. It is important to know that Firestore can operate in two different modes. The first is Data Store mode, which maintains compatibility with the older Data Store database. The second is Native mode, which introduces new features such as real-time updates and offline synchronization, making it ideal for modern app development. Earlier, we walked through setting up tables, loading data, and writing basic queries in Firestore. We also explored how indexing works to optimize your queries and how to use emulators for local development. These tools make it easier to build, test, and scale your applications efficiently. That wraps up our overview of Google Cloud Firestore. If you have questions or feedback, let us know. And be sure to explore more courses on tech with Shaping Pixel. Thank you and see you in the next part. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our website for the latest real exam question and answers PDFs. Happy learning!